I'm just making sure that I am live everywhere where I'm meant to be live. Yeah, when we cover a lot of games, and I think it's days like these that I love, especially mid-season where we've got a little bit of a break, just a little bit of a break, where we can go back to speaking about other important things, and asking other important questions. And I know to a lot of you this is going to look like, oh, speaking about Chiefs again, but I'm using this to go towards something. I didn't think you'd be doing a show. Hey man, listen. Come rain or shine, I'm here, agent. Come rain or shine. Let me just make sure that my things are running correctly here and everything is proper. You can hear me, agent. There in the comments. You can hear me. And what's funny is that this is a conversation we had in the group. So once I've just confirmed that everything of mine is working, then I want to start this conversation. Okay, perfect. I am audible. Confirmed. Thank you guys for confirming there. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mukwena. I am your host. I do this show every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then also Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. Tonight, we're going to be doing a watch-along of the Pirates match. That's going to be playing at 7:30. We had some really cool chats yesterday in review of Uchoze. So if you want to watch that or any of the previous episodes, just know that they are available on Facebook and on YouTube in full with the panels. If you're listening on Facebook and YouTube or you've watched the previous episode and you're wondering, how do you add your voice to the show? Well, you have to be following me live on TikTok. Join me when I'm live on TikTok, and then there's a button at the bottom of the screen that will appear when I say that I'm opening up the lines that says multi-guest. Click on that button, request, I let you in, you join the panel, and add your voice to the show live. So, guys, bear with me. Today I want to speak about the DDC and implications around the DDC and what it means for these developmental players. Now, for those who don't know, recently, a couple of weeks ago, there was a strike that happened at Kaizer Chiefs from players like Puso up here. Puso was a Kaizer Chiefs player, DDC player, where they refused to be ball boys for a first team match. Then there was talks about terminations, and they were being punished and all of that stuff. And Chiefs essentially wanted 1.5 million in compensation to give the clearances for these players to go. And Puso ended up at TS Galaxy. Whether the 1.5 million has been paid, I don't know. But I want to speak about these DDC players. What is the point of the DDC? Should they be ball boys? Are these 1.5 millions that are being quoted proper? And also contractually, what is the difference between a DDC player, a development player, and a first team player? Because it seems there's a blurred line there that we don't necessarily understand proper. So those who know, let's have a conversation. I want to have a conversation about this. So I'm going to open up the lines, and we'll start off with what we feel about the situation, this situation that happened. We spoke about it at length in our WhatsApp group. And if you want to join the WhatsApp group, you have to be a paying member of Overthinking Football on YouTube. You can contribute. The lowest one is 20 Rand a month. You get access to the WhatsApp group, and we have more of those conversations there. Agent, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I saw you guys gossiping about my team last night. I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll see you guys
Tell me, agent, what do you think of, firstly, let's start with the situation. DDC players, this man is 19, right back for the future, all of that stuff, but he's a ball boy. Meanwhile, Abong Fukeng are playing first team football. Abong Tuduzi Shabalala are getting taken to first team and taken back. Aboma Pena are 17 and they're playing for Sundowns. How do you feel about the situation that these boys find themselves in?
I think it's lack of guidance for me on my part. I think people, whoever's advising these boys has to be very careful, be it parents, be it agents, be it anyone, uncles or whoever, you know. Here's the thing, even in life, OT, let's see, fingers crossed, you get that big break to, let's say, super sport, for example, that's your path. You had to go through TikTok for you to get to super sport, Some, he's going to go and become a footballer, then become a presenter. Some is going to go to school and go through, become a presenter through that, So even in life, there's different paths to success. There is no single path to success. So these boys need to understand that, sure, Mufukeng now is excelling and he's a first team player, I would argue, in Paris, cool, that's his path. Omar Berner is in and out of Sundown. Sometimes you don't even see him for weeks. And that is fine, that is my Berner's path, When I maybe as the Tejuana, your path is I take it gradually through the ranks. I have to play DDC, then go to the league and stuff like that. It's a pathway. We have different pathways. There's no single pathway, So I think whoever's advising the boys, they're making them big-headed, I may not necessarily agree with them being made ball boys, but they are employees of Kaizer Chiefs in terms of what is it called? Football players, First things first, this team is paying probably for your tuition, for your accommodation, for your flights, for your soccer kits, for whatever. I'm sure being a ball boy can be something that you can ignore, and it's for like 90 minutes, and even if you don't like it, you don't go on hunger strike. You go to the coach and say, but coach, or whoever's in charge and say, coach, I'm not comfortable doing this, Same way, even when I was spanning, I get to a span, my job is to analyze the what do you call it? The financials of the company. That's my job. But I can't say there is a receptionist. I want to print something. Let me send that to the receptionist. You'll print it. If it's something I can print it for myself, why not just print it? If I find that the toilet is dirty when I enter it, I know it's not in my job description, but I feel like it's my responsibility that when I'm leaving it, I leave it clean. It's called responsibility. Responsibility and the rights go hand in hand. So yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Kogetso, how are you, my brother?
I'm fine, and how are you?
I'm good. How do you feel about the situation? I'm going to start with the ball boys issue. 19 years old, quote unquote start DDC, played COSAFA games, then Barre, you're a ball boy. What do you think of this situation first?
Agent stole my way too. Agent we baby sharp, What I think is I do understand the frustrations coming from these boys. Obviously, seeing, like you said, seeing Abu Mufukeng and Abu Mabena. But agent we baby sharp, the path are not the same. Like not everyone can just be 16 and go to, like you need to be patient, you need to honor your contract. I think these DDC boys maybe have contracts, right? Maybe first team contracts, but they need to honor their contracts. They need to do the duties tailoring Kaizer Chiefs requires them to do, Even though I don't agree with Kaizer Chiefs making DDC boys ball boys, come on. Where like you even Phil Foden was a ball boy at 11 years. No team in the world can make a 19-year-old who's playing for a second team a ball boy. Can't be. But the behavior of the boys, I feel like, no, they shouldn't have behaved like that. They were supposed to go and do the duties that they were asked to do. And maybe Chiefs is seeing something. Maybe Chiefs is saying, okay, be closer to them. I don't know, but maybe they saw something. But
Mm,
then also, I think Chiefs took a harsh decision because
mm,
now they've been paying for these boys, maybe school and other things. And these are the investment of the club. 1 million. It's small money. Look how much in Gezana was bought with. The likes of
mm,
Abu Blom. Not
mm,
1 million, That was a
mm.
harsh decision to take.
Okay, okay. Let me bring on Flo. Flo, it's in the network today. I know Flo, man, in network. Flo, zama futhi ukungena bafo. Kumo, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hey, how's it? Great, Rena.
I'm good. Tell me, hey, I think we still have. Okay, tell me, what do you think about this situation where these boys, DDC players, fully fledged, and they made ball boys, and they decided to go on strike? How do you feel about that? This situation.
Ish, a lot of things don't make sense, especially coming and looking at from the outside. I don't know why he was chosen to be a ball boy. Was it because was he punished for something? And by refusing, was that his protest met with harsh punishment? I mean, to release such a player which you previously deemed as promising and investable, to release him because he simply refused to be a ball boy. There are so many other ways that you can punish a player like this: by denying him game time, by making him train alone. Agari still contracted with you. So it's like Chiefs management is taking their frustrations out on this boy because they can't win two games in a row. So the only way they can express their frustrations is by terminating young players' contracts. So a lot of things I want to understand, George. Yeah? So they terminated his contract and now they're demanding 1.5 from his
I'm gonna
parents.
get there. I'm gonna
Is
get
that
there.
even fair? Is
Wait.
that even
I'm gonna get there. We're coming. We're coming
okay?
to it. We're coming to it. Agent, I want to
Okay,
speak to this.
but
Okay, go on.
no, it's fine. I was gonna say, there's more to it than this story, man. Like, if it's what we read on the newspapers, then it doesn't make sense. You can't punish someone for refusing to be a ball boy by terminating his contract. That's stupid.
I wanna stick a little bit to the development part. Agent, 19-year-old, by all accounts, his star. Is the DDC doing some of these boys a disservice by having them still playing, developmental games? I know we call it the reserve league, but we're playing developmental games with these guys who are 19. Shouldn't they be let go to places where they can start playing early?
I think that's more on the teams than the DDC, But before I go there, I wanted to say sometimes too much innovation has, I felt for my own good was the first DDC was a bit more competitive, and the
Okay.
more competitive it is, the more it exposes these boys to men's football because you would find that as Osadule is recovering, we hear that he's in rehabilitation. He'll play 30 minutes with the young guys, Grabbing shoulders with such kind of big guys, it helped the boys to improve. So I think they made it a more of a school tournament, if you can put it that way, than a reserve league, because a reserve league, if you're saying maybe you want to give this boys a chance, you're saying, but let's say an older player can play maybe more than 30 minutes, more than 45 minutes, or you put a restriction and say maybe not more than 4 per game, something, but at least when these young guys are mixed with the experienced ones, they gain viable experience. And now going back to DDC, I think it is a good initiative, even though I feel like they downgraded it to more a useless program, but it is still a a good one. The question is, what are teams doing? If you look at Sundowns, because I'm a Sundowns fan, I understand a bit more. Fleming said, "Okay, guys, this DDC thing is not working. What is going to happen is our under 19 team, no one older than 19 should be, no one between the ages of 18, 17 should be playing in it. We only take under 16 to under 19, like should be around 3 years gap for the unders, so that when you reach 19 now, you need to get out of the system, and for the players that you think they can make it into the first team, usually in 11 players, usually it's 1 or 2 players. If you're saying you did good, so you take those, the ones you feel like they have potential, you loan them out. Then others you sell. A typical good example is Man City. Man City makes a lot of money through selling development players, and I think Chelsea also to an extent. So I feel like it's more on the teams to sell these players to first division sides because they have had proper development, to maybe loan them to first division players or lower teams like Cape Town Spurs and stuff like that, and adopt maybe 1 or 2 into the system.
Should it not be a rule, Mara? Should it not be a rule within the DDC that certain players of certain ages, at some point you have to let them go for at least the good of football? Shouldn't it be a hard and fast rule across the league?
It's a difficult one, it's a difficult one because it's like now telling say PSL teams that, you know what, guys, after we were 34, we don't want you in the league, we want a competitive league. It's a tough one. That's why I feel like the onus is on the teams themselves. Because I think DDC is playing its part. Its mandate is we want to bridge the gap between development and the first team. So yeah.
Okay. Koketso.
So,
Is the DDC working? If you still have 19-year-olds that are being used for ball boys, even though they've played COSAFA and all these things, should there be rules put in place that make sure that teams, if you're not going to use the player, loan him out to something, maybe an age limit or something like that, even just for the good of football?
one thing about us, seriously, we are far behind. We are far behind in terms of defining a young star. Here a 25-year-old in South Africa is a young star. You know what I mean? They think he's a young star. But then I also agree with Agent, Agent 007. It goes with the team, my guy, Like Agent said, at Sundowns, 19 years and 20 years, you don't play DDC. Sundowns has a team in ABC Moteta. I forgot the name. But they played in the majority of the players who are playing MDC that are that age. They are currently not in the MDC DDC team. They are playing at that ABC, Sundowns ABC Moteta team. Because after Fleming came, like he restricted the certain age and said we also need the other youngsters in the first team. That's why Sundowns has about, I think, 5 players now. I think it's Ntando Nkosi, Sianda Nyanga, Thando Buthelezi, Mabena, and the other boy who scored the penalty that Barking, the Cheers Galaxy, what. Those guys. Like it also goes with that's why now it's important for teams to have a sporting directors and what. But also coming to your question, DDC, I think maybe they need also to restrict the age again, maybe to so because I don't know, maybe age restriction, is it under 21 or 23? I don't know. But then an under 23 should be playing, it's either second division in the municipal championship or maybe become play first team PSL. Yeah.
Okay. Kuma, should there be rules brought into the DDC where we maybe have to force teams to find situations where we can get these players into some sort of competitive system outside of the DDC when they get to a certain age?
It's a difficult one, and the realities are our football systems aren't designed to absorb every player from development, because we've got tons of players in the development ranks, but what happens from there on? And honestly, Sundowns is trying their best, like the previous panelists said. But even the other teams, they also have their own people that they play for. I'm talking about the ones that are in the ABC Motsepe and the championship. You can't get all of them. So as a player, you shouldn't have this expectation that after going to a Chiefs or Sundowns Academy, I'm gonna automatically get a contract to play in one of their structures. Because as a team, they have to take the best from the best, And also that is why school is important. You can't expect to play soccer forever, or because you are part of the development, you are gonna get a contract. The one that's entitlement mentality. The DDC in itself, man, the rules are gonna be counterproductive because then you're gonna start forcing clubs to some extent, like failing because of not all the clubs have the same financial structure. Some clubs can afford to have such people. Some rely on older players who are much more experienced, even though they play in the lower league, because it's also something to play for. Now you're gonna be forcing clubs to absorb players that are young. In some instances, they lack discipline coming from their respective developments. So, man, I just think like you can have rules to a certain degree, but make it fair and understandable. Even clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea City, not all of their development players get absolved. Some don't make it. So, yeah, man, it's challenging, it's tough. So, if you can find a solution to this, man, I don't know, like you'll be the messiah of football.
Yeah. Kolani, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yep, yep. And thanks for umfake this.
Hey, up and down. Izame futhi.
So right.
You still sound a bit far away. Angazi ukuthi yini.
Okay, asiphinde sizame futhi.
Okay, no, ngathi yiyo leya, ngathi si right unjani futhi?
Ngiyaphila futhi ngihamba kanjani?
Ah, you're right. Tell me, should there be rules? Okay, firstly, let me get your thoughts, Galendaba Yabo Puso. And then secondly, should there be rules put into DDC that force teams to find places for these players? Not necessarily Guti, you have to absorb them, but maybe go the Sundowns route, Yabo M Tigers.
Oh, okay. Let me first start by my thoughts about this issue. First, I think abashana laba fethi bathathe ngenhliziyo, yabo, and they thought ukuthi their peers are sitting on the bench with first team yabo, so nabo I think ngokwabo they deserve to ukuthi balole steam nozwane lapha bangabo ball boy. Ngokwami fethi leyo mentality iyabheda fethi, yabo, because uma uthatha ukubheka khona into ejwayele ukuthiwa ucoach Rulani ukuthi my players are good human beings. Yabo. So mfethu laba bafana laba ukuba ball boy first, it doesn't harm them by any way mfethu. Uyalaphana for 90 minutes uthatha iball ufake kwifield. Yabo, no one will even remember ukuthi you were once a ball boy. Yabo. And another thing, i-Chiefs bethi ibanike like i-chance mfethu. Okay, so i-Chiefs ibonile ukuthi this boy got something like maybe mhlawumbe banalo talent, they could like maybe nurture them and develop them to professional players access. Leyo risk nje Chiefs ukuthi thathe imali yabo and like invest on them. Now they should like have heart ukuthi okay labantu bethi basithembile basithathe, they could have chosen anyone but bakhethe team. How about we do this 90 minutes and then bese siyaphuma kubona bese. Yabo. Even I also blame like if Chiefs nayo i-life coach for ama-development players, leyo nto leyo efuna ngabe isengqondweni yabo first ukuthi for now you're not a star, yabo, you're still coming up, so whatever eqhamukayo first you take it and you move, yabo, and have a bigger picture ukuthi when your main goal is to be a star but you're not a star okwamanje, yabo leyo nto.
Okay,
So that's my take on the issue.
Okay. The rules.
Yeah. It's gonna be difficult for the association to put rules when it comes to the issue kanje ngoba teams spend their money trying to develop these players. So you can't tell our teams how should they go about their business in terms of our players restricting with fanele umdedele emva kwesikhathi esingakanani because they spend their money. Yabo. So yeah, indlela engibona ngayo.
I think just jumping before I go to agent again. I think for me, you know, the teams aren't doing enough as it is. I mean, we spoke the other time about Ichiba United putting out a social media post to try to get a left back. And then you go, but guys, don't you have a DDC? Don't you have other DDC players that you can look at, for example, to bring into this team, right? So for me, I think it's one of those things where we're leaving it up to people who don't have plans for that. And I don't think the teams that are going to have plans for that. Yes, Abo Supersport, Abo Banbani may be better at absorbing these players. But you look at the case of the Chiefs, I don't know that they have a plan of absorbing 11 players from ETDC. So I think the rules would help you go, you know what, guys, if you're not going to use this child or you're not going to put them in your thing, find a way, whether you give him a contract and you send him to a second division, whether you and another team come to an agreement, but there should be lines drawn because these clubs don't care. You know, these clubs, you know, that's why we're finding 19-year-olds going through this or being put in these situations. He's 19. Anywhere else in the world, apparently he's the next Kafu. He's a great player. Anywhere else in the world, you wouldn't be sitting at 19 doing these type of things or having these type of conversations. It's either they would have taken you like a Chelsea and said, okay, fine, maybe we don't have space for you right now, but we're going to loan you out somewhere and you're going to get experience there. Which if that experience comes back and helps Chelsea later, we don't know, right? But this thing of just banking these players and keeping them and holding them, then umuntu kana yenza debut for a first team at 22 is why our football is so behind. So this DDC for me, it needs to be looked at and there needs to be parameters placed by force because the teams are not doing it on their own. Agent, I want to go to this 1.5 before I go to the next panel. 1.5 meter, is it justified?
Yeah, before I go to the merits of whether it's justified or it's not justified, I think the key thing should be, does Chiefs deserve a payment of some sort? Even though they've terminated a contract of this player. I think that should be the main thing. We can discuss the merits and the demerits of the 1.5 million as we want, but the main thing should be, do Chiefs deserve the money or do they want the money? Because I think, I don't know, maybe those of you who have seen a bit of law or who read interesting political stuff, you would know that there was a very interesting case of a Belgian footballer, then called Bosman,
Yeah.
and
yes.
essentially, if you remember the Bosman ruling,
The Bosman ruling.
I think you look at the ruling. Let me just give a brief explanation. It was saying that essentially before then, teams could extend contracts, teams could tie down players and stuff like that. The Bosman ruling made it possible that even in your last 6 months of your contract, you can negotiate. If your contract ends, you can leave and negotiate with your own teams, But I think the problem was with the Bosman ruling, it only addressed senior players. It didn't factor into account the development players, because it's different when a Sundowns is buying Marcelo Allende, and paying that fee. They have spread that 51 million apparently for 3 seasons. Like, okay, we'll get our money's worth, for 3 seasons. But a case like Udi Tejuana then is a problem because let's say you have taken him ever since he was 12 and now he's 19. Where has he been living? What has he been eating? What clothes does he have? All those things. you put it in,
But
and
wait, before you go there, okay,
yeah,
I was gonna have this conversation in the next panel.
yeah.
Is it a problem that DDC blurs the lines between development and reserve? Because for me, I know we speak about Marcelo Allende as though, okay, the first team player. But if
Yeah.
I am a reserve team player for a club and I can be called up at any time to join the first team and I'm playing in the reserve league, am I still a development player or am I fully fledged first team player? And if you come and fetch me, you have to break my contract.
No, I think, like I saying, the problem with people who run football is, for lack of a better word, they're not football people. You know, football wise, there is a clear distinction between reserves and development players. You know, that's why earlier when I said DDC initially it was a reserve in terms of players who couldn't get enough game time in the first team can play in the reserves. You know, that's what reserves are for. You know, but
Yes.
they are blurring the line in terms of they are playing developmental players in the reserve teams. Hence, I think legally DDC is a development league as opposed to a reserve league. You know, hence for players to play into the big team consistently, they must have a professional contract. You know, so to the point that I wanted to make was, I think FIFA says Chiefs is justified because there are two things which need to be thing. Oh, my train of thought. So the Bosman ruling kind of blurred the lines in terms of developmental players, you know. But what FIFA was saying, looked at it and said, but what is the incentive that a team like what is this academy, School of Excellence has in developing players if at the end of the contract they have, they can leave for free, you know? So they said, okay, fine, there's going to be what you call training compensation and solidarity mechanism. Those who can look them up and understand what they are. So I think Chiefs is entitled to the money. Whether
But
contract is
agent,
too much or not.
back to the question. Am I then, whether for whatever reason, am I terminating or whatever they called it? I get it, there's a lot of allegedlys there, but
Yes.
am I dealing with this player as a development player, or am I dealing with this player as a reserve player? Because my issue is, if this player can be called up to the first team, ne, and there isn't extra paperwork that is needed to make that transition, then later on we can give him a contract later on. What kind of contract is the DDC contract?
No, I think the reason why, like I said, once you're in the reserves, I think you should be having a professional contract, you know. But like I said, DDC, I think legally would be a development team, but practically you are saying is a reserve, but I think it's a development league. Because the reason why that smooth transition, look at Europe, for example. I'm not sure about CAF, I'll talk about UEFA. UEFA, when you are bringing in your, 26-man list, you don't submit your youth players, you know, because they can always enter even though they're not part of 26 that you've listed, you know. So even here in what do you call it, in SAFA, I know that you can, at beginning of the season, you submit your 26 list and you don't include your youth players because they can just join in there, you know. But the point that I wanted to make was Chiefs. If you remember the case of Ducks, the reason why Chiefs was penalized was that in as much as the contract, truly the contract between Ducks and that team had ended, you know, but according to the FIFA rules, there's that solidarity the mechanism and the training compensation that Chiefs must pay towards that team, you know. So hence, even TS Galaxy, it has to pay some kind of compensation to Chiefs. Whether the 1.5 million, I think 1.5 million Chiefs is gonna say this is the breakdown of the 1.5 million. This is what we have done. This is why we are saying 1.5 million. It's not a transfer, but you're compensating for what we have spent on this boy. Yes.
Okay. Koketso. I even forgot the train of thought where we were at. Is it a problem that DDC and development has blurred the lines between reserve league and development? And then do you think that this 1.5 by Chiefs is good, proper compensation?
On this 1.5 million issue, there was a tweet, I think it was by Umazola, when he said that Chiefs served the youth players with termination letters and demanding 1.5 M. One of the comments under that tweet, it was Farouk Khan. And we know Farouk Khan's development posters of Africa, how many players that guy now, And he went on to comment, Ati, I would like to know how it's possible, as I've lost out big time on compensation. So my thing on this one, the question is, if you have that player with a termination letter, the compensation that Chiefs wanted, is it for maybe grooming him because of he was under them for the maybe longest time? Like, do you compensate them like what's happening there? And the other thing also is regard with Konjeini, the reserve side. Did you say is it a reserve side or what?
I care about it, but DDC is the reserve team. It's meant to be a reserve team league. So,
if DDC is a reserve league, Kushakuti those boys must have a first team contract. Or no, this thing is complicated.
That's why I'm like, I want to understand this thing, because I think that's what complicates the matter a little bit more. I believe.
And then they want a 1.5 million after selling the letter, or before you get the player, you need to pay 1.5 million maybe.
So you have to pay that. I understand it's for the compensation, I guess. But that's why I'm asking Ore. Then where does the DDC part fall into this? Where does the reserve league part fall into this? Because is a developmental contract, let's say I'm under 15, my parents, my guardians have come in and they've spoken to the team and they've sat down and they've come to an agreement or whatever about my development, and they develop me. Is that the same as a reserve league player? You get what I mean? So is the contracts the same? Do we still say compensation at that point? Especially when Upuso is 19 now. Surely there's also things you have to speak about with his guardians, his parents. Does that fall away? Like, how does this work? But let me go to Ukumo. Ukumo, can you make sense of this?
I'm trying to, because now, from my understanding, I'm gonna speak from a legal point of view. It seems like Kaizer Chiefs wants to have their cake and eat it. Like normally, when a player globally, we've seen the presidents before, when a player is troublesome, they either loan him out, they sell him, or they release him, right? So Chiefs terminated. Now I'm gonna use terminate because like it's a keyword. So when you terminate someone's contract, you mean like you don't want to work with them anymore, and the contract is null and void. So then why is Chiefs trying to get some form of compensation from which is them that terminated the agreement between these two? Let's say TS Galaxy didn't buy, or I don't know, I can't even, like, I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology. I'm gonna use buy anyway, it's fine. They didn't buy this player for 1.5 million. What was gonna happen to him? Was he supposed to pay Chiefs 1.5? And also, the money that he was receiving, if any, from Chiefs, does it amount to 1.5? And if you're going to claim that because we groomed him, we gave him accommodation, no one asked you. He went for trials and you accepted him. So you took on that responsibility. Isn't it so? And also, like, I don't understand. Like that is why Chiefs always gets caught with the law because they've got a very sketchy relationship with the law. Now, I don't think this is legal. Like if I was this boy and I didn't have a silver lining in TX Galaxy, I was actually gonna take them to the CCMA, take them to SAFA, FIFA. I was gonna escalate this, because it doesn't make so much sense to me. But then again, I'm a layman in terms of football law and everything else, but it doesn't make sense. So the DDC and the Reserve League, when this league came out, as you rightly pointed out, it was for first team players that didn't have enough game time in the starting lineup, and also for players like your Peter Shalulile and Ribeiro when they come back from rehab just to acclimatize game time. That was the league supposed to be. That's why we all fought. Now it's like a high school reserve league, which is true. And honestly, I followed that, but like I didn't notice like, hey man, where are those French players that Sundowns has, or Chiefs has? We always see these young boys. So man, I don't know. You know what? I think they should go back to their roots, and also if you're gonna give your DDC players contracts, you can still give them like professional contracts, and if you can't afford, pay them the same. I mean, like a professional contracts at least gets you some hope of actually playing for the first team.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I think.
Polani, what do you think about this situation? I'm going to read what agent sent just now, but what do you think of this situation, Kolani? Ngoba mina ngibona ngathi this thing yokuthi DDC is the reserve league, and then ama contract wakhona ayafana at under 15 afane na DDC afane na professional. What is the difference?
Now I'm struggling to understand, Mr. Otsi, because ngibheka la kwi-timeline lapho kubhalwe ukuthi Chief Development Star. I-development and reserve are two different things, so bona bayibeka ibe into eyodwa. So hence I'm saying I'm struggling to understand ukuthi why kubizwe izinto eziwu-two and then put in under one umbrella, because reserve first lo muntu lo usuke a first team player. Development, they're still trying to make him a 100% professional player. So I'm struggling a bit. 1.5 uphuma, maybe if Chiefs ingasitshela ukuthi okay 1.5 uqhamuka la and then break it down ukuthi we've been paying for his school fees, his bus fare, yabo mhlawumbe khona into kade sihambise emndenini, yabo mhlawumbe so understand.
Yazi why ngibuza before you go there, yazi why ngibuza ngoba if it's compensation, I understand, because then I guess I'm not transport, that was ban, all of that stuff, great. But then I have a feeling that this has to do with, Lama release clause in my contracting, where I think there's a blanket where they say, Guti, certain players, and I'm assuming, I don't know, certain players, must have figured to a certain point in the reserve side. I think this is just a blanket release clause. When you're in DDC and you get to a certain place, we're going to give you an adult contract. So this one is Una 19. Our Puso is 19. He's past our parents and guardian. So my feeling is that there is a contract they give them, good DDC. And then now part of this is breaking a contract. I think it's a release clause. I don't think they terminated these guys.
Yeah, because if they terminated, bekufanele bengafuni ama-fees. Because angithi uNtseki, let's take i-case kaNtseki. Bathi Unseki has parted ways with mutual agreement, yabo. So akekho umuntu ozokhokhela omunye umuntu lapho. So once terminated, it's either a team has to pay for the remainder of the contract yomdlali, or the player himself has to pay the team for the remainder of his contract, depending on ukuthi ubani othi ofuna ukuthi i-contract sakhe terminate.
Okay, alright, Tolani. It'ingvulela abanye, so we can carry on this conversation. Let me read what agent sent in the group. We have a WhatsApp group. To join the WhatsApp group, that's where we discuss at length. The WhatsApp group, you have to be a contributing member on YouTube. 20 Rand a month is the cheapest one, and then you get access to the group. That's where we speak 24/7. You can see messages at any time. The YouTube page is Overthinking Football Show. So, agent sent this in the group. What is training compensation and how is it calculated? Training compensation is one form of compensation the FIFA rules allow. The payment may be required at two different times of a player's professional football career. Number one, the player's first time registering as a professional player for the first time in another country other than the one he was trained. And secondly, the player's subsequent international transfer. In the first situation, the club where the player registers must pay training compensation to every club that contributed to the player's training starting from the season of the athlete's 12th birthday through to the season of his 21st birthday. In the second situation, when the player is subsequently transferred internationally, the new club must pay the immediately prior professional club's training compensation. Training compensation is due within a month of the player signing a professional contract. The compensation amount is calculated according to the specific equation. Value attributed to the level of training multiplied by the number of years spent training changes in different countries. Different clubs have different financial values according to the confederation to which it belongs and the caliber of the training, the latter of which indicated by the category attributed to the club. There are 6 confederations under 4 categories of clubs. The categories are based on financial investments the clubs spend on their players. Category 1 is reserved for the highest caliber, while category 4 is the least. I think I hear this, but then again, the player's first time registering as a professional player for the first time in another country other than the one he was trained. So I think that's where it becomes a little bit shaky there, because he's not leaving countries, he's changing clubs. So is Kaizer Chiefs still due compensation? You know? Okay, let me see. Let me let in the next panel to have a discussion. Tavi was there, and then Theo and TC. Malome Kuto, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
I'm wondering how are you, Mr. OT?
I'm good. I want 2 things from you. Firstly, what do you think about the ball boy situation separately? And then what do you think about the compensation conversation?
Okay. The ball boy situation, nah? Funny enough, I had a conversation with a friend of mine when we went to go watch the Orlando Pirates, right? We looked at the ball boys and I was like, hey, these ball boys are well built, yeah? As the game progressed, you know, when you are one of those kids who lose concentration and they wander. So I kept focusing on these boys, and then I saw, no man, I've seen the small one go MDC before, the shortest one. He's the captain. And then after, you know how the brain works, and then after you see the most familiar face, the other faces start to surface to mind, which, this is the MDC team. I went into defense mode, of course, because I'm a Pirates fan. I was like, okay, maybe it's because Pirates doesn't really have junior teams, apparently. I don't think Rally 15, 12 is. I think Rally under 19 and DDC. We don't have divisions below that. Because growing up, I knew with Sibo under 15, under 12 would be the ones responsible for such. I think it's global practice or kids be responsible for such. But with Kaizer Chiefs, it also trended with ball boy. I tried consoling myself with Umfundo is quite young. Yeah, but then you see the other, you're like, Aibo. This is the whole MDC team. Doesn't Chiefs have under 13? Why do they play this right? And people again playing elsewhere, shouldn't they be engaging in training and all of that? But then I guess it's one of those cultural issues where it's standard practice in SA, which if you're in the DDC team, you are a ball boy automatically. You understand? Not necessarily. It's one of those where we don't conform to the global standards with global practices in the country, but specifically directly to these 2 teams. How I feel about it, you know, there are certain things that as a child, you don't see Kanaking it's demeaning in any way. But as an actor, you find them very demeaning. For example, as a child, if you are reprimanded in public, it's okay. You continue. But as an adult, you start asking, why are you reprimanding me in front of Kuto, in front of so and so? You start becoming sensitive to specific things. Now, who's playing for Chiefs, Pirates, and all of that? It's Shabalala, Ratomo, Mapena. And the painful one is Mapena and Ratomo. I'll tell you why. Abu Mapena and Abu Ratomo, credit to the School of Excellence, did not spend much time in the DDC. Mapena didn't play. I think he played one game and then it was adios. Ratomo came to Pirates Cup, joined the DDC, I think not more than a season, he was gone. So now you ask yourself, will this chance ever come? Something will break you, man. Yes, you need to be strong, tonton, but some things will break you as you witness them when Kanagin, it's an emergency situation. Pirates is down, down to Sundowns. Ratomo is rushing to take the corner. You were his captain just last season. You have to throw him the ball and say, "Fire fast," and then he's like, I'm gonna make the sound so that you understand. Then he's like, "What's our OT?"
Yes, I felt that one.
You understand? You're like, yo. Just last season I was his captain. you understand? So, some things you don't need to put him through that. You don't need to put any player through that. Give it to the kids. Give it to the secondary school opposite your training facility, whatever. Someone who will actually appreciate it. Just like how a graduate from university is so happy to be getting 7,000 a month and they popping bottles. You can't do that to a 50-year-old and say 7K and expect the same response and then say, when are you not showing any gratitude? You understand? Take care. So I think that's where. And credit to Abu Puso for standing up for themselves, and saying, you know what, I can't. This is too much for me. And you wonder how long it will go on in their heads. You wonder, he probably didn't feel anything. But the fact that he was trending, was like, he was trending for a ball boy. We were posting him in the socials, just having a good laugh, but he's a child. He sees this and he's like, if Lama Khurman actually is wrong, then definitely it's wrong. And it takes me back to these people who preach, when you are treated like a king, Abuakadi prince, or you grow up as a prince, you don't know anything, you can't differentiate, but the treatment they give you then conditions to behave like a king. You start seeing the king in yourself. And if you're treated, I think it also applies in the opposite way, which where you're treated like a nobody. You might start seeing it. You understand? It might have gone on for too long between Abu Ditejane as well as Abu Kanekimang Abu Mfundo. You must understand, it is a big brand. For a 19-year-old to say, I never. Must understand he dug deep in the reserves of courage. It was not mixed. And the second question.
Eric gets a saw. Let me let everybody come in, then I'll come back for the compensation. Ntabi, how are you? You could just unmute there.
I'm okay, but the thing that you're talking about today, it killed my boy. Even now, he was here. I asked him, can I take you to Chiefs again? He said, I'm not going to Chiefs anymore. The guy he's playing under 15 in Sundowns. Because of the cost of living, we can't take him to Pretoria each and every now and then to training, whatever. So we asked the club around. So we asked him because we can't take him from the better position and then to take him to the ground again in the location. He's killing my child that day. My boy is dead because of it. He go there and he's in the trials, I think 3 days. And then after 3 days, on the match that they were making the small match for them, He managed into that 2 days to score 3 goals. And then they didn't take him. They just take those 2 boys that didn't do anything. This one is having potential. He can score, he can do whatever, but they didn't take him. They just say, you are not good enough. I even go and ask that guy, you say my child is not good enough. You hear yourself father saying to me, he said, yes, the boy he's wearing jersey number 10. Even now, because of Sundowns is too far, we are struggling to get him a team around here in Joburg. This thing of the coaches, sometimes the coach, we are parents, we go into the match. When you get there, they just put the boys that don't know how to play. Even if you can watch a Sundowns match 14 to 15, you will never see them inside. Because we take, if when you come with a plastic bag, you say to the coach, Masilela, you will see what we'll do with this. Masilela will put your son and you will leave my son. And my son is talented more than your child. That thing is killing our talent in South Africa. If these coaches, they can just put that in their mind. Oh, guys, I know, I'm talking about the thing that I know. I have 2 boys. They're brilliant one. But they never take in anyway. Because of this, you have to pride, you have to give you this.
Do you think that even structures at DDC, or you can only go to Sundowns, only go to what Chiefs, shouldn't there be more options available?
Well, the thing that is making this thing to be difficult is when you are Mukwena there, you are the one who's coaching those 15 and whatever. Why we can't take the coach from 17, 19? Everyone must see this one is talented. You can't take the decision alone. The thing that is killing us, you can't take the decision alone. You know, Mukwena, you have your friend, already they bring their child. You say, I will put them. This one, I will just look at. They don't take them just like that. My son is very. Even when I got so long ago, I asked him, can I take you again to Chiefs? Let's go and try to Chiefs again. He said, I don't want to go to Chiefs. You hear, he's already bleeded inside. He doesn't want to see anything about Chiefs. Guys, this thing of I wish those coaches, they can hear us. They're killing our kids. They're killing this South African talent. That's why they will go and buy someone else from Zimbabwe. You'll go and buy someone from Namibia. We have all those things here. You are the one who's killing it.
And then how do you feel about the DDC's development? It's you have the kids, you have the talent, you have all that stuff, but there's so many things that you have to do in order to get in. So they don't get chances. Is that something you think about when you take your sons to these places?
He's there, but you don't know who's giving who whatever. I'm saying at Sundowns, I saw it many times because the boy is playing for Sundowns. Those ones who are the parents driving the big cars, they will talk to the coach in my car. He will tell you, they buy him the lunch, they're giving the money for the lunch, all those things. That time the boy is coming from the family that is having nothing, but he have a talent that he can put him to be something else. Because of we don't have anything, he can't go. We can't force to go there. We don't have tenders. We don't have money to round and show to the coaches. Coach, how you will buy cold drink? Why must we buy? Why must we buy you a cold drink when the club that you're working for you is paying you?
I'm gonna come back. Theo, we just heard Untabi now speaking about these things from the other side. We don't see that from this side. What do you think of this conversation about Obopuso and also the perspective that Untabi gave us there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Oti, being already panel, and everyone in the live. I think it's a very sensitive topic, in a very different way. Even in the group, if you saw it, end up by PSL, their structures, how are they formed, like things from a player, my contracts, and you even said there are so many dodgy things that are happening there. That some of them, if you were to check them thoroughly, you would see there's a lot of unfairness. Yeah, but back to the the first question that I wanna ask is, I asked it there. I think I think to 007. Umpendulile ne. WHN I mean man. Lento leo ukuthi okay ngithi mina first team usithi ama ball boys zoba ilaba bafana be TTC mabadlala obviously kuthiwa ama under 15 right, then ama under 15 mawadla ama under 13 I think, then labo mabadlala who must be the ball boys. You understand that? You look at that and you see ukuthi, for an example, le ntwana ziyadlala ekuseni ngabo-12. Let's say Chiefs playing. Let's say idlala ngo-10 ekuseni. Mayiqeda ukudlala ekuseni, Chiefs idlala ngo-3 or ngo-5 ntambama main i-big team. Le ntwana maqeda ukudlala ngo-10 uye ekhaya uyadla. Kumele ubuye uzobhiza ugijimisana namabhola. Hayi guys, ezinye izinto man zidinga i-common sense and zidinga to understand ukuthi these are not just, you know, like just boys, guys. These are people who have vision. Messi, guys, if you remember, Messi broke into La Liga at the age of 19. He was terrorizing the league. Mbappe, I can, you know, man, I'm a player over
16. No, Messi was 16.
19, 18, they're already in big things. Why is our own, you know, our own thinking like better ngalendlela? I wonder if it was, huh? What's Mr. Uti?
No, bengithi Messi 16. Broke into Barcelona at 16. I think we just have a bit of an issue there.
Yeah.
Go on.
Cabanga 16. Cabanga 16. And then at the age of 19, Kogiches Argentina terrorizing world. Guys, we cannot see these things and say, it's normal because he achieves or because no, he pirates. And guys, we should be protesting these things. Our boys are not gonna go there for this development nonsense. Rather, they go and they scout that boy Babilete because Abozwani, that's how they got him. Why shouldn't look plastic? That's how you go to Zwani. He went and scouted him, brought him to the first team. Mazangati or Migisaku the first team directly. First team in Paris one game Zwani. So the third part is another question, Mr. Uti. Club fan about 20 to 25 about Chiefs right now, good development. Do you notice Kuti they are only gonna promote probably 5 year Bafana pen?
5, 1 or 2. 1 or 2, yeah, only 5.
Angithi mina ngenza a worst case scenario. Laba abanye bayaphi? You understand? So we cannot be busy smile as it's no vele they sign the contract so kumele ba mapapers guys, you can't do that. You can't. Lento show la no put ikutso. Cabanga nje into so busy ngiyakuthethisa lapha. Yo wena netry good. Let's lepo wona man. Siyadliwa and like you can't do that. Like as kuneyintwana OTS delela uzube namahloni lapho lo mfana umdala kunaye. Let's say una 19 wena lentwana ina 17 Chiefs impromotile and vele une right ukuthi akudelele because obviously he's there, yabo. He's professional man. But if he Chiefs bring into an guys, it's not hard. Abafana yakhona uba bizwe no takali Chiefs beyond over my pole boys. There's no way boys won't want that. You understand? Abanye bakhona you bring them to a training, ban assister there and there. This should not have been an issue. So I think another thing, it's just an agenda he Chiefs against these boys. Probably because hence that's why now they are going towards the contract route again to try and sabotage their careers. Yeah.
Okay. PC, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey George, man, I'm good. How are you, brother?
No, I'm good, my brother. I'm good. What do you think about this situation here? Yabo Puseleto and ball boys being ball boys.
Yeah, man, it's very sad and extremely frustrating at the same time. You know, I look at Puso's career, man, so far. I think he's also played national youth teams as well.
And Kosafa, and yeah.
And he was, and here he is now being asked to be a ball boy. That's like being in a matric and being a prefect, and then being asked to do grade 8 work, or being a final year in varsity and being made to do tasks that should be meant for first years if you live in race. You understand? And I don't think it's the right way to teach a 19-year-old discipline. I hear people talking about discipline. You must listen to your boss. Marie Kwali, he's earned the respect. He's earned his stripes. He should be, in my view, he should have been having a proper first team contract by now because he's been one of the best players in his position for about 4 years in terms of his age mates. When we look at people his age, he's probably one of the best the country has at that level. So why are we still making him a ball boy? Why wasn't he even close to the first team? So I think a guy like Puso, he probably got very frustrated. I think someone has already mentioned Borato or Momabena. He was probably looking around and seeing guys that he played with probably was better than, or guys he can match. They're already getting first team minutes. I mean, as Borato Momofuke, he went to Wolves last week or 2 weeks back to go trial. He could be in that position for himself now if he was being given a fair chance. So there's a systematic problem, George, here. We in South Africa do not know how to develop players. We don't know how to develop players. We assume picking someone up like Puso. I live in his hometown, Christiana, here in the Northwest. We assume taking him from here, putting him there at academy at Kaizer Chiefs, that's development. But that's not development. There's an element of management. Umama, I think Ntabi, she's already mentioned a lot of stuff. There's issues with this thing because part of development is management, managing a player, knowing when to give a player a contract, knowing when to say, hey, man, Puso, you're ready, here's a contract. Knowing when to say to Puso, you're not ready for first team yet. So you know what we're going to do? You have a first team contract with us for 4 years. The first year, we're going to send you out on loan to the NFD. Go play. You're 19. You're not going to school anymore. You're a professional footballer full time. Go play in the NFD. Go show yourself there. Then next season, come back pre-season. Let's see again. And that's how European clubs are operating, bro. Like they see talented footballers. If they see that they need a little bit of work, they loan them. They give them a first team contract. They loan them out. They play, they come back. They don't make them ball boys there at Anfield or Etihad Stadium or whatever. They loan them so that they can keep growing. I don't understand where South African football is going with this. I don't understand where Kaizer Chiefs is going because I look at some of the young players that have impressed in Kaizer Chiefs. Nkosingi Pilangova, I hope I'm saying that correctly. He's disappeared. Mashiani, he's disappeared. Shabalala, he's on the verge of disappearing as well.
Zwani.
They're disappearing, these boys. What's the plan? Because Kaizer Chiefs said to their fans, we want to bring through players from development. They got Mulifinteki saying we want to go back to the culture of bringing back players from development. Jabu Pule, Junior Kanye, what's the guy Marcelo saying? All those old players, Bokune. They wanted to go back to the culture. It's a culture at Chiefs. But then they're mismanaging it because these boys come into first team. We see them one game, maybe we see them 5 minutes, then we never hear of them again. Also, I think this is a blessing in disguise, by the way, because I see the way he left the club is not very good. What's been said about him refusing to be a ball boy, the compensations. But at the same time, George, the advantage is that he's going to go to TX Galaxy. We know they're going to give him a chance. He's going to play. And if he does well for himself, he can find himself maybe moving to a Sundowns, playing CAF Champions League, CAF Super League, or whatever it's called. Or better yet, he can find himself in Europe within the next 2 years instead of sitting there in the stands at Chiefs or being a ball boy for the next 2 years. So I think this is a blessing in disguise. And I hope he takes it that way. Because, as I said, I live in his hometown here. I know some of his family members. And they're very disappointed, by the way. Just to add, I spoke to one of them, I think one of his uncles. He was quite disappointed because Chiefs is a big club. Dude. Everybody was hoping he makes it at Chiefs. Everybody was praying for him to make it at Chiefs. I was too. But it didn't work. But this could be a blessing. Sometimes you need to take 2 steps back to move 10 forward. So maybe this could be one of those cases.
Okay. And if you guys will allow, I want to touch on something what we spoke about right now. I think for me, we spoke about this. I remember a couple of months back, I went to a youth tournament with the top academies. And when you get there, you can't help but realize that the parking lot, man, it looks a certain way. The people on the pitch, hey, man, they look, you see the cock starting, you see all of those things, and you're like, hey, man, can an average player from Kokasi or from places where they don't have money, can they actually make it? Malume Kutso, this pay-to-play thing that we seem to have in our developments, how much does it hurt our football?
Yeah, I apologize to the people above. They have direct interests. You can hear what Austin Tavi is not happy, and Uso's homie is also hurt. So apologies to them. You know, Mr. Utia, I also deal with them a lot. These developments. I took a look at some point. I was like, this is not the reality I expected. Lana not to do cheese la gary cheesy khoshebiso yona si yona shebo they add something to cheese, so I could see now much. I thought I'd be seeing that cream from Gogo Putung, but it seems like money talks and the other thing works. So I understand. Well, whether it damages or not, that I'd be unfair. To comment on, because as we've said, I think the issue is that we don't know how to develop players.
Yeah.
I believe Chiefs is like, and I say this respectfully, so far, I feel like it is like a team that I run as who has 9 to 5, which I can see into ngifake in my team, and that's it. Mjimisa 5 rounds, but I don't think the player will progress in the same fashion that a Raheem Sterling will progress. One understand. Seguguyi. Because if you look at the Chiefs, I think Chiefs stopped probably in 2006 or whenever the last time they promoted Ukuni. From then it was Chan. They just come through. We see glimpses of good players, but none of them ever breaks in. One understand? Yeah, they remain young players until they're like 26, 28. How old is Bruce Vuma? Still up and coming.
Oh, yeah.
Still up and coming with a great future ahead of him. But I'm sure he'll play a full season when he's 31. I'm sure he's 28. So I feel with maybe with the right development, and I'm sorry to people I might trample on. It really doesn't matter who you bring in if you have the right development strategy. Yes, there's that little talent that's necessary, because I've seen how, in as much as Kilekholm, I've seen a proper cow, which even the coordination of running and kicking is difficult. That at least must come natural, and then everything else can follow. I think I've relayed here with maybe under 12. I was a promising player, right? But there were players who was like, you're dead when. Those guys got on the train by COVID. My brother, I can see the difference. I can see the gap. You understand? So maybe developments can do a certain level. You understand? And if the development is extremely good, maybe then just knowing how to kick and run, you can be a better player. In terms of paying to play, we will only see the fruits of it, because I'm thinking it's a new phenomenon, right? By how is it a new phenomenon? In that those guys actually getting to the PSL. It's quite recent. Maybe back in the day, it wasn't like straight from again Hyde Park into Sundowns, and then you the PSL. It was maybe and then you've got a fruit size for you, and then maybe you can get in. But I'm talking about people who are, and I'm not saying background means you're not nice, but I'm just saying, I'm just labeling the.
But what role should Bosafa play? Because I mentioned this tournament because it was the top. It was the top developments, and you know that the coaches there, all of them, even the guys that I went to go watch personally, they've all got their licenses. They've all got it's proper programs. And my fear is that that you're speaking about, they can get into those programs and get some of the best coaching and maybe not go anywhere. Maybe, hey, it's a nice after-school thing. My child plays for a certain development that's very well known. He plays the every weekend. When he's done, he's going to go become a businessman somewhere. Whereas it should be orientated towards Abokuts, or maybe not everybody, but the stars. You know, we all know the guys. I'm sure you know 20 players off the top of your head that we all knew so these guys were it. But they never got found and they never got that opportunity. How should Bosafa be handling these things in terms of getting answers, solutions?
I really want to be fair to myself and everyone. I just believe with the best development, you can be taught how to play. If you're talented, yes, it's a plus. Then you can become a Messi, But with the right development, Mr. OT, trust me, you can be taught. Whether you're bad or but you can be taught. You can be taught you receive the ball with your right foot if you're going to pass to the left. You receive if you're going to pass to the right, you receive with your right, you pass with the left. And the opposite applies. You scan, Yes, some of it must come natural. But to be fair to myself, and with what I've witnessed, you can actually be taught, Chins. In as much as it's painful to admit, you can be taught. But the most preferable guy is the guy who's naturally talented, and then we build on that. You understand? That is a guy who stands a chance to go even further and further the country's cause. You understand? Which is I think the question lies to say, for the benefit of the country, how do we sort that out? Where the guy who can go the furthest is spotted and supported. You understand? In that case, yes, that's where I think we go into school sports. I've seen rugby. They perform extremely well. I've seen cricket. They do somewhat well, you understand, compared to it. When you visit these facilities, you can see why they should be doing well. They've got about 3 cricket pitches in one school. Think about how big a cricket pitch is. If one school has 3 of them, if you can see the machine, what I'm here, that is scrum there. For the under 15 and what you can see with Alabantu Basiras. Right now we don't even have cones. You can't see because it's too dark, you are injured for life. You understand? So if we can take those resources, if I just wish they could do this, if they could spot the right kids, if these schools, Bo St. Stephen's, Bo St. Mangmang can be tasked with developing players, giving out bursaries, going out and scouting, so that we have this culture that we have here rugby. So we have this strong influx of players developed at an early age with the right resources. I'm telling you, we could go further than we are right now. So all I'm saying is ISAFA can try and introduce it via schools. In terms of teams, hey, money talks, the other stuff works. We can say it's painful, but it talks, Buffett.
Okay. Tabi, as somebody who is actively taking your sons and trying to get your sons into this, how would you love it to be handled? Like, if you were in charge, how would you want them to be handling this situation as a parent?
Mukwena, let me tell you something. My boy, he just didn't go just to go to Sundowns. We try him from where he started. He started at Josie Star. If I can tell you right now, the person who's wearing jersey number 10 on Chiefs under 15, he was this teammate like this. But because the father of the boy, he was the coach, his son is always get the match and he will play full time. But this one, they will play only 10 minutes, just like that. Even if they say the team now is going down, they will ask why you don't put our super sub. When he just come up, when Kato just come there, you will see. And even the referees, they will ask, where do you stay? I want to talk to our parents because they see their talent, but the person who's coaching them is the one who's putting his son. Even if he's not doing well, he will play 90 minutes. Those one, they will play 15 minutes. So it's not fair, guys. It's not fair. It's head. Yo. Right now, my son, he go to Sundowns before them. They were still playing there. Within a minute, I just take him to the Transit Chiefs. They refuse him. They say he's not good enough. After 2 weeks, we come back there. The same person who was his competition, and he's not. They're not playing the same football. He's more better than the guy. But the guy right now, he's wearing jersey number 10 at Chiefs. Like he was wearing there. Even if he didn't deserve it, but the number 10 it was given to him because his father is the one who's coaching.
So how can they change these things? What would you change?
If they were saying things, it is better than anything. High bed referee say 5 it's high development how under 15 how be under 17 coach we ibeteng how be under coach under 19 ibeteng ka fela go kgona bona talent. You can't see the talent all alone by yourself, never. How the referee say 5 di thusane mo nonong as management di kgona push into, but the way by Frankateng bana ba South Africa ba tlo suffer until ba tlo bapala good football, but they're not going to go anyway.
Yeah.
We will never have the striker. We will Zimbabwe Maputo already re na le bona ka mona re hlola ba producer because of selfish.
Tabi, TC, fix this for me. How do we fix this development? How do we make sure that these pay-to-plays and stuff like that, yes, they can be there, but how can we make sure that other players get a chance? Other players get to play?
Yeah, man. I think Abdul Khutu has mentioned something about a similar path to rugby where people are getting scholarships, especially the black kids. Sia Kolisi's story is an international story. A guy from the township, he got a scholarship, he showed his talent, he's now a two-time winning World Cup winning captain. Perhaps SAFA needs to liaise with the schools to say, this current system of development that we have, for me, is not right. This one-way system. It seems as though if you don't go to academy, the chances of you playing football professionally in South Africa are minimized completely, right? Because you look at where they play. If you're not playing, if you're 15 and you're not playing at an academy, where you're playing is not good for development. Let's just be honest. Our township football is really not at the level that we want it to be because no one is investing in them, and no one is investing in it, and no one is investing in those players. So I think the schools, your St. Cynthians, your Grey College, all these big rich schools, they need to be liaised to say, guys, let's have a football program for all the schools, the same way we have a rugby program. I mean, Dstv has a channel dedicated to schools rugby. There's a 216. Every weekend there's a rugby match going on somewhere. Why don't we have the same thing for school soccer where we can sit here and watch these boys all over South Africa play so that we know if this boy doesn't make it as an under 14 to Kaizer Chiefs Academy, at least there's a chance he will go to a good school, get a good education, and also still be able to showcase his talent. And there's a pathway, as an alternative pathway to the current pathway. With the pay-to-play, that one is always tough, and it's firstly unfair from a social point of view. The reason being is that we know the circumstances where most of our footballers come from. We know them. They single parent homes, some are raised by their grandmothers. They can't afford your 2.5 or 10,000 or whatever to be given an opportunity to play for Kaizer Chiefs, even when he's talented enough. And I think individuals like that, bruh, if they are found guilty, they must be banned from football. If I was SAFA, I would be starting to say, I'm going to ban these people permanently from football activities, because what you're doing is you're killing South African football, and largely you're killing people. Because some people, playing football is a way out of a certain social circumstance. But now they are gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping these kids, and they're destroying families. I mean, you can create generational wealth. Football. We've seen Messi, Ronaldo, these guys. It's generational wealth. But now, if we are now having people who are denying these kids, SAFA needs to investigate these people and then ban them for life. Ban them from football activities in South Africa for life. Because what you're doing, you are destroying young men and you're destroying families, potentially having generational wealth.
Okay. I think on my side, guys, I'm looking at the time, so I think I'm going to close. Thank you to the last panel. I think for me, guys, these things are easily fixed, man. These things are easily fixed. Guys, forget about schools. We have local LFAs. I've got a SAFA medal. I won a league term. I've got a SAFA medal. Do you know how easy it would be for these LFAs? I spoke about this previously. Just to keep stats. Hey guys, you know what? Go LFA Tsago Gauteng. Khona labantu that scored 20 goals, 50 goals. Now Munye, assist 20, what. Let's pick the best ones. Say a high performance center for 3 months. You know, it's not with me. It's in Springs. It's in Springs. I'm in Pretoria. I'll bring it when I go to Springs. The medal. I think that's what we need. SAFA already have, guys. All of us here that played football, even Kokasi, you played in a SAFA league. The what, right? What's killing SAFA to go, guys? There's the people. Now, Coach Busmuzi was here a couple of months ago, and he spoke to us, and he said that no, Uskeshe found him. Skeshe is a coach in my town. Uskeshe found him and recommended him to Golden Arrows. Why isn't SAFA finding people and recommending them? There was a lot of shiga that happened there. So we already have, we have the structures. So then why not just use these structures? what broke my heart that day when I went to go watch that youth tournament, what broke my heart was, guys, I was sporting FC, abo Benfica, I was Banbane, they were all there. That means that some of those kids are able to jump. You can even jump PSL. You won't even have to think about DDC. But the kids who are getting those opportunities are the St. Stithians kids, are the what kids who are playing club football with these people watching and these people available. Why then doesn't Abu Safa make these opportunities available? I've said to you guys again, you can't run a development with a handful of people, a handful of clubs. The TDC is what? It's the 16 clubs. The TDC is 16 clubs. Kaizer Chiefs already is struggling. It's at 1-2 every 2 years to go into there. What's going to happen to the rest of these players? To go back earlier to the conversation, what's the name of the development? I didn't go to development. I mean, I played Kokasi. But in any case, I spoke about these things where I'm like, all these things exist. All of the things are available. But the problem is that, Tina, we don't want to do the other work. 16 teams in the PSL cannot take everybody. So earlier we spoke about AMA rules and saying, guys, let's institute rules. Okay, you've got a DDC team. When a player hits 19, it's either you give them a professional contract or you let them go or you let them go on loan, right? Make it a rule because these clubs are not going to follow you. So guys, the one you saw, it was here in Centurion. It was here in Pretoria, sorry. You have all these things, man, guys. I mean, guys. We are very narrow-minded and we don't realize that our teams don't care. So us, or whoever makes the rules, need to come in and force these teams to do certain things, because if they don't do those things, it's not going to get done. We'll sit to the Puso. Yes, Puso came into the limelight because of a strike that they had because of a ball boy thing. But now think about it. He's 19. He's won he's winning man of the matches. People are lauding him. He's playing COSAFA games. There's no club, PSL, NFD, ABC, there's no club that could take him. There's no club that could bring him and say, hey, Yasmin, my guy, you are the future of what we're doing. Now, TS Galaxy, for him to be taken by TS Galaxy, something had to happen. This whole strike thing had to happen. Contracts had to be terminated for TS Galaxy to take him. What was happening before? What are the rules? What's stopping these players from changing teams, getting found? So, guys, I wish we could just carry on asking questions about our DDCs, ask questions about our teams, ask questions about the developments. Because, like I said, you know 20 guys, I know 20 guys, everybody knows 20 people from Kokasi, from their hood, from wherever, that were incredible at football, never went anywhere, were never found. And we're wondering about talent. But anyway, let's see. There was news a month ago about him and Daga generating interest from the PSL teams. The best way is to get into prestigious schools to scout the talents and groom those kids. Guys, LFAs are run by people with coaching licenses. LFAs already exist. To try build up the school thing again is great. You think about it, but what's going to happen is that at the end of the day, Mr. Mfukeng, maths teacher, who's been given the job of being the soccer coach, is going to take your kids. Then you're going to go, where's the development? Whereas the SAFA run things, guys. SAFA already runs a lot of things. They just don't use them. Scouting doesn't need to happen. Anyway, guys, it's a lot. I'm going to close it. We're going to carry this. Let us have a setup like rugby cricket structure for our football. I'm gonna carry on this on another day. It's just that I don't have time today for the full show for 2 hours. We're gonna be back tonight for the Pirates watch along. So join me. For those who don't know, this show is on Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. as well. If you wanna watch any of the previous episodes, we've delved deep into a lot of different topics. They are available in full on Facebook and on YouTube. And they are there. If you want to join our our WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group where we discuss these things proper. You can join that by heading on over to YouTube, the Overthinking Football Show, joining one of the memberships. The cheapest one is 20 Rand. It's a monthly membership. And then you'll be able to join our WhatsApp group and have these conversations more in depth and offline. It's a vibrant place. So you wanna join that thing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys tonight, 7:30. I'm also reading these things. Topic of recruitment. Okay, no, we'll have the discussions. I had an agent on the other day. Topic is the video is available there, and he opened our eyes to a couple of things. Okay, guys, see you at 7:30.